Imagine a small mountain airport on a normal day. Everything feels routine until it doesn't. On March 27, 1977, at Los Rodeos Airport on the island of Tenerife, two massive Boeing 747s collided on the runway in thick fog. 583 people lost their lives. To this day, it remains the deadliest aviation disaster in human history. It all started with what seemed like a minor terrorist attack. At 1:15 p.m., a bomb planted by separatists exploded in Gran Canaria Airport. 8 people were injured. A second bomb threat forced the airport to shut down. Hundreds of passengers, including 2 large charter flights, were diverted to the nearby island of Tenerife. The small mountain airport, sitting over 2,000 feet above sea level, was completely unprepared for the sudden chaos. The first aircraft was KLM Flight 4805 from Amsterdam. On board, 248 people, mostly Dutch, including 52 children. The captain was Jacob Veldhuizen van Zanten, a 50-year-old legend at KLM, their chief Boeing 747 instructor with over 11,000 flight hours. He was considered one of the best pilots in the airline. The second was Pan Am Flight 1736, the legendary Clipper Victor, the very first commercial Boeing 747 ever put into service. It was flying from Los Angeles via New York. On board, 396 passengers, mostly American retirees excited for a Caribbean cruise. The captain was Victor Grubbs. While KLM passengers got to stretch their legs in the terminal, Pan Am passengers stayed on board. But when Gran Canaria finally reopened, the pressure was on. Everyone wanted to get out fast. Meanwhile, thick fog was rolling in over Tenerife. Visibility dropped to just a few hundred feet. There were only 2 air traffic controllers for the entire airport, and the taxiways were jammed. Planes had no choice but to taxi on the single runway. Worth noting, Captain Van Zanten was in a serious rush. New strict duty time regulations meant his crew might get stuck overnight on the island. That pressure would prove fatal. KLM taxied onto the runway first, turned around at the end, and lined up for takeoff. Pan Am followed behind. The controller told Pan Am's crew to exit at the 3rd taxiway to clear the runway. But in the dense fog and poor markings, they missed the turn and continued straight down the runway. At 5:06 p.m., the controller gave KLM their route clearance. This was not takeoff clearance. But Captain Van Zanten suddenly said, "We are now at takeoff," released the brakes and began his roll. The controller, unable to see the end of the runway because of the fog, replied, "Stand by for takeoff, I will call you." At that exact moment, Pan Am came on the radio. "We are still on the runway." In the KLM cockpit, those words were partially blocked by radio static. The flight engineer asked twice, voice tense, "Is he clear of the runway?" Captain Van Zanten snapped back, "Yes," and kept accelerating. "We gaan, let's go," he said in Dutch. Those words would later become infamous. 2 giant jumbo jets were now speeding toward each other in a sea of white fog, speed already over 140 knots. Pan Am spotted the oncoming lights first. "There he is," Captain Grubbs shouted. "Look at him! God damn, that son of a bitch is coming straight at us." They slammed the throttles forward and tried to swerve left onto the grass. At the last second, KLM yanked the nose up, desperately trying to lift off. The tail scraped the runway, carving a long, fiery scar. The nose and landing gear of the KLM cleared the Pan Am, but the fuselage and engines slammed into the upper deck of the American jet like a giant can opener. The right engine of the KLM tore off. Fuel poured out in rivers. The KLM flew a short distance, crashed, and erupted into a massive fireball. The Pan Am broke apart and burst into flames. All 248 people on the KLM died. Only 61 survived on the Pan Am, mostly those seated in the front who managed to escape through the wreckage. Many jumped from 2 or 3 stories high onto burning debris. Pan Am flight attendant Dorothy Kelly heroically pulled passengers out of the burning cabin until the fuel tanks exploded. One survivor, Joni Feathers, later called her mother and simply said, "Mama, I'm alive." The Spanish investigation directly blamed Captain Van Zanten for taking off without clearance. The Dutch side argued that poor communication, heavy fog, and the overcrowded airport also played major roles. In the end, KLM accepted responsibility and paid massive compensation. But the real legacy came afterward. This disaster completely transformed aviation safety. It gave birth to crew resource management, the idea that the captain is no longer a god, but part of a team where anyone can speak up. Strict standard phraseology was introduced. Readbacks became mandatory. The word takeoff can now only be used with explicit clearance. These changes have saved countless lives since. One terrorist attack, a tiny airport, thick fog, rushing crews, fatigue, and a few critical misunderstandings. That's all it took for a chain of small mistakes to become the worst disaster in aviation history. Today, a memorial stands at the site with 583 names. 72 steps lead to it, symbolic because 72 people initially survived, and the KLM left a 72-foot scrape mark on the runway with its tail. If you watched until the end, drop a like. Stories like this need to be told so we never forget. Subscribe, more powerful aviation stories are coming. Fly safe, everyone, and always remember those who never made it home.